So, new work. Well, it's hard to talk about new work without talking about old work. One reason that I'm doing this, sitting on my bed here instead of from a studio, is, and one reason I ended up working on this project a lot recently is I broke my ankle skateboarding. So I'm still a couple of weeks away from getting off of crutches. Here's the brake here, and then here's the plate with the screws. Yeah, and I was just skateboarding. That's why I'm doing this from here. It started out with pictures of what I call Gen Z, which is the generation that's growing up now, has been born or going to be born or soon, or they're just kids right now, and they're going to be growing up into an environment where a lot of animals are extinct. And so I took the red list, and the red list is a list of extinct animals, or animals that are going extinct, or life forms that are in the process of they're either endangered or they're in the process of becoming extinct. And I was superimposing those over pictures of things related to kids. And I used my own kids and my own imagery. It's my daughter, newborn daughter. These were big posters, fairly big. I like to work very large scale, so these are 20 by 30, so they're just standard poster size. They're kind of meant to be larger, and they become kind of, I guess, I lived with them for a while. I didn't exhibit, I've exhibited a lot in the past and then stopped. So I sat on these, and then I started doing them again. And I liked where they were going, but they also were just kind of graphical experiments, David Carson-ish knockoffs. Started experimenting with like tattoos and things. And then it just became a graphic project, and I got bored with it. I started just compiling information about extinction and looking around the world and seeing where extinction was taking place and what kinds of life forms, and everything from like viruses on up to, your poster child for like the polar bear, which was actually, this is a shot taken from a poster of a polar bear in a mall, which was pretty much how I envision my kids experiencing wildlife at some point, which would be in the mall. So literal. Then I started thinking about, well, you can't have extinction without life. It got me out of that idea of just thinking about red lists superimposed over kids growing up in it, which just became a graphical exercise, into kind of like looking at extinction in context. I go to places and I take a couple thousand photographs. Tijuana, Florence, San Diego, Malaysia, Singapore. I started trying to create an environment in which both this extinction event and things like cures, viruses, and the global pandemics versus the positive kinds of things that have been happening, and research into possible solutions, etc. I mean, it's not too dense for me, but I know it just becomes very decorative. And I started thinking about healing and addressing some of these issues and this kind of human situation that we're in now. And I started thinking about magic. So right now what we have are all of these images put together, large montage that it's going to get huge. And when I say huge, it'll either be presented in web format with many, 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 many pages of this, or it will be a wall. An entire wall of these. It's like a giant bulletin board. I started looking into spells and magic. So I started researching, black magic, white magic, casting spells, earth spells, healing spells. And so right now what we have is all this imagery associated with creation and evolution and extinction, along with spells. Healing the wounds, a lot of healing spells, some black magic, but that's where this stands.